Now, the last recipe primarily is keto. So, for those of you keto fans that love lasagna and love Maria Emmerich's recipe, hold up. This is similar to Maria Emmerich's recipe, though I do use more processed foods in this recipe. I'll be doing it step by step. I want to show you the ingredients that I put in to the keto carnivore-ish maybe ingredients. Primal Kitchen, that is the best, the cleanest in my opinion, sugar-free spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, and in this case lasagna sauce. I do thicken it up by adding the Aldi tomato paste. Why Aldi? Because there's no preservatives. Nothing funky is added to this. No artificial preservatives nor ingredients in their tomato paste. There we go. Let's check out the ingredients properly. Ingredients: tomato pulp, citric acid. I guess to keep it fresh. It's not sketchy. It just thickens up the Primal Kitchen sauce. And butcher box will be the sourced meat, roast beef, regular ground beef, cheese, of course, going to be hand shredding it myself. I have piles of everything ready to rock and roll. All I have to do is put it together with you. I'm not going to be doing an hours or 2 hours worth recipe, which will probably take the time to make these recipes, my suggestions, my offerings to take to the kids. But I'll be doing the assembly and then show you once we get there in the video of the spread that was put out. Now, these people are not keto and they're not carnivore, but I bring things that are good for everybody. So they're really surprised when they find out that there's no noodles in the lasagna, for example, and they don't have to have sugar in their sauce. So that's it for right now. Let's continue on with the recipes, shall we? If you just saw the lower right hand corner, you saw a ladybug sniffing. There she goes. This is the panade that I just made about a half an hour ago, and it's almost ready to put in the 1 pound of ground beef and 4 pounds of Italian sausage to make the meatballs. It's a lot of meatballs, by the way. Now, shifting over to the right here, I used 3 pounds of Italian sausage and a pound of the butcher box, all butcher box meats, of course. A pound of the ground beef for the carnivore lasagna. And that's coming up. That'll be the next recipe after I'm done with my meatballs. Ladybug smells all the meat. You smell the meat, Ladybug? There she goes. This is how I like to, when I do major cooking of ground beef and Italian sausage to make lasagna. I put it in the large stock pot over medium heat, cover it up, and just let it go. I usually beat it with the wooden mallet and still let it go. Low and slow. We cook the meat. Render all the juices, render all the fat out. Then I'm going to show you another tip on how to make a lasagna, especially a carnivore lasagna, fat-free, in quotes. Stay tuned. Note to self, if you guys were wondering why I was not using the tripod, it's because I left the tripod at work in my locker. Go figure. I have to go and get it. So in the meantime, let me show you how I defat my meat for making the carnivore lasagna. Remember all the meat that I had in my big pot? Here it is. I put it in a strainer because we live in the country and we have septic. We don't, well, people really shouldn't. Even if you guys live in the city, you should not put the grease down your drains at all. Don't do it. Really, don't do it. You'll save yourself on plumber costs and what have you. Take the meat, put it into the sieve. Whee! All the grease will get in there. But do not wash this. Do not wash this pan right now. Save it right here. All the fat comes out. I shake it out a little bit. Nothing like meat sauna. Shake all the fat out. As much as possible. I would say, shoot, there's a good, easy cup and a half, almost 2 cups of grease in there. That's a lot of meat, and that goes into the super extra large lasagna. Family plus size lasagna. Put it right back over the pot. Show you all the grease. That's a lot of grease. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. Now I'm going to put this grease outside to solidify because it's 5 degrees and it'll solidify. I can pop it into chunks and throw it in the garbage. Win-win. Stand by for the next defatting tip. Okay, if you guys look in the back here, you will see the Ninja coffee maker that I use to make pots of coffee or little pods of coffee. But it has a wonderful feature. On the side, you can actually boil water, have either hot water. So if the grandkids come over and you want to make them a cocoa, you can make hot water come right out of your Ninja, or boiling water. So for this application, my ground beef, I use the boiled water. And I boiled 40 ounces, and we're going to pour the hot boiling water over the ground beef and Italian sausage. So if you're thinking I am drowning out any of the spices and the flavorings because I got rid of the fat, au contraire, I'm going to do another 40-ounce pot to de-fat the meat. And then I'll show you how I spice her up all over again, but without the fat. I should probably show you what. Shake this one out. I should probably show you how much I got 40 ounces of fat out of this. Hang on one sec. There we go. There we are. That's a lot of fat. And there's a reason why I do what I do. Stay tuned. Okay, it's been watered, defatted twice. And now I take the meat and put it in the mixing bowl. Whoopsie daisy. Put that in the mixing bowl. See the big chunks like this? See them? Watch. They'll magically disappear. And this is why I put it in the mixer. Lock it. Locked. Turn that low. And just like you would shred chicken, the pro tip for shredding chicken, that's the same reason I do the ground beef and Italian sausage, to make the grinds finer for the lasagna. It just makes it smoother, a smoother eating experience, shall we say. And see how fine the grinds are? Yeah, there's a little bit of chunks around the edges, but I can easily squish those with my fingers. But yep, super easy, and it's done in a matter of minutes. And after I'm done with this lasagna meat, I'm going to proceed with adding the raw meat to this bowl to make the meatballs. Carnivore-ish meatballs, that is. But now it's lasagna time. Let's do this. Well, hello. This is the super humongous roasting pan. I think it cooked at one point in time a 50-pound turkey. I have had it for the longest time, and now it's time to pass it on to the youngest daughter. This is what I will be putting the lasagna in. It's going to freeze great in here, able to transport safely in the car. And then insofar as presentation is concerned, that'll be on the buffet table. So, nice gift, hey? Full of lasagna, carnivore lasagna, healthy lasagna. Bon appetit. So now, let me show you how I make my easy cheat, low carb, no added sugar sauce for the lasagna. I've already taken the liberty, for time purposes, to put one of the jars of the Primal Kitchen pasta sauce in there, or in this case, lasagna sauce. My 1 can of the tomato paste. I'm going to put approximately 2 tablespoons, because we defatted and deflavored some of the meat. So now we have to put the flavoring back into the lasagna. So this is about 2 tablespoons of Italian spices, Italian seasoning. You know, Pluck's got to make another comeback. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of the Pluck into the sauce too. I love this stuff. And zesty. Oh, it's so zesty. It's delicious. It tastes wonderful. Not only does it make your meatballs good, it makes your lasagna luscious. Delicious. And then I just whisk it about and get it ready to layer up with the lasagna. Super sick, super quick, super easy, super simple. Oh, and I almost forgot the Redmonds. I put in about a tablespoon and a half of Redmonds for this sauce to flavor it too. Almost forgot. Now, one more step before I start assembling the lasagna. This is a lot of lasagna. It will probably feed, because there's other accoutrement, my meatballs, other people are bringing antipasto salad, breads, what have you, all the carbolicious things. I'm choosing to make the carnivore or low carb versions of things. So, because it's a tomato product and this is stainless steel, I don't want the stainless to have an oxidizing effect because of the tomato products in there. So this is how I'll be transporting it, obviously in this container, but open it up. In the container it holds 3. A lock and lock. with the handle and a couple other lock and locks. We've given Lisa a lot of the lock and locks, passed it down to her. She's got the kids. The kids, they have parties and families and they do outings and they take stuff to school, so they'll benefit from the lock and locks. And she'll like this for parties and things too. But I'm going to be making the lasagna in these plastic glass containers, freezing them, transporting the frozen lasagnas in here, and when we transport this way, they'll stay fine back in the bed of the truck. And when we get there, all we have to do is turn out the frozen lasagnas into here, and I'll show you the city gaps in here. Turn it out, fill in the gaps. Perfect lasagna. Cover it with cheese, and no one's the wiser. Gotta think smarter, not work harder. Okay, so I'm about ready to assemble the lasagnas, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to be doing one, and you'll understand why. Let me turn the camera around and show you my ingredients. Okay, we have the seasoned ground beef and Italian sausage, the Primal Kitchen pasta sauce with tomato paste added, and the additional spices because we rinsed the ground beef and Italian sausage. I shredded up some parm with the potato peeler. I don't need it for potatoes, so why not do it for parm? This is mozzarella mix. Mozzarella mix. I think I mixed it with some provolone here. I used the thicker grading device. This one, what is this? I had bits and pieces in my freezer that I've been saving. Of course, provolone, I had some Parmesan, some Asiago cheese. Shoot, what else? I think some Romano, which was in the refrigerator. This green sprinkle can, I threw that in there. Good old provolone. And here's the twist to the Maria Emmerich one. Now, Maria uses chicken or turkey, but let's use common sense on this one. Beef, roast beef, right from the deli. The main ingredient to the lasagna is beef, so it makes common sense. Oh yeah, and one more cheese, because you just gotta have it. So let me turn the camera around, get in position, and start assembling. There we go. Now I'm sure all you guys have your own ways to assemble, so I'm just showing you my way. And again, just showing you the 9x13, the one pan for right now. I slap on some sauce. I like it super thick because it holds all the heavy-duty meats very, very well. And even by putting in the additional spices in there, really, really helps bulk and thicken up the sauce. So that's a good thing. So I start with that. Then I do a layer of provolone because, well, I picked up a lot of it, so why not? Heavy on the cheese, heavy on the meat. And if it breaks, again, it's broken. Who's going to see it? Who's going to judge you? You're bringing delicious food to a party, right? Layering on a lot of provolone. Two more for that layer. Then I'll show you step by step. There's the provolone layer. Now let's slap some meat in here. I used to do Italian sausage separate and then ground beef separate. Not anymore. Make it easy on myself completely. Two meats together, cooking together, putting them on the stove while I vacuum or do whatever little incidental things while that's cooking just makes common sense to me. At this point, if you so desire, you can add spices each layer if you want to. I'm going to add some salt in the meat layer. That's why I have my Redmond's real salt out here. Salt the meat layer. Put on the cheese. Put on a lot of the cheese. Grab my spoon. I normally like to put the cottage cheese on with my hands, but you know, when you do videos, you got to do it this way because people will freak out and say, "Ew, you're using your hands." My hands are clean. My hands are so clean that I have super chapped hands during the winter from cleaning my hands so much and washing them. So I'm just plopping. I usually put one layer of this cheese in here. No rhyme, no reason. I just do just the one layer in here, and the majority of it is the Parmesan, yes, and mozzarella. That's a majority of it. So this is good for this particular 9x13. The rest I'll save for the other two little ones. That takes the longest time doing that. Let me throw a little mozz action in there. Handful of mozz. And now for the fun part. Again, using my impeccably clean hands, we put the roast beef layer down, aka noodles. It's not noodles, it's protein. And who doesn't need protein? Our bodies, as we're aging, we need the protein. The kids, as they're growing up, they need the protein. We all need protein, so protein is good. And trust me, nobody is going to be missing any noodles with this. This is extremely satiating, filling. A little goes a long way. I highly doubt if there's going to be leftovers of this. Highly doubt it. This comes from the deli, so it's kind of salty. I think deli meat is a little saltier than the majority of other meats. So that's the layer of the beef. Let me get a paper towel, wipe. Another of the ground beef layer. Oh shoot, I should have smooshed it down. That's okay, I'll smoosh it down with my spoon. Smoosh it down, pack it in very well. Pack it in, fill in all the air holes, all the gaps. Then just keep adding it, adding the meat. More meat. I have a lot of meat here, guys. A lot of meat and a lot of cheese. But we're feeding a lot of people. If I'm going to have to guess, I'm going to say Lisa should be having about, guess, maybe 50 people coming in and out of her house during the course of the party doings. Another of provolone. In addition to all the other goodies that people have brought up, are going to be bringing, and I cut these in half to fit into the little corners. Cut them in half like that. Round where it needs to be round, flat where it needs to be flat. Flat, flat. There we are. Another layer of the sauce. I kind of eyeball this, and then I try to smoosh it and spread it on there onto the provolone because it's easier on the provolone than the other cheeses. For obvious reasons, the provolone doesn't stick like other cheeses would to your spoon. Now, the reason I defat it is there is fat in cheese. There is some fat in the meat, of course, too. The deli meat. But after you're done making it, no one really wants this big pool of grease on the top. It's just disgusting. Now, I don't mind it when Jack and I make it at the house. Here's the big provolone, big paw of that. Yum. I don't mind it. For Jack, what I'll do is I'll take paper towels and I'll dab the excess grease on his so it doesn't look like it's swimming in a pool of fat, and it really is that way. But again, I like the fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. But for some people, they may freak out. People are just that way. People are that way. This cheese. I've got more plates in my refrigerator because I have been grating for an hour doing grating. I should probably get myself a device like those little wheels that people have, how they grate their own cheese. I think Hope's got one of those cheese wheels. There we go. Another layer of the meat. And this is how we do it. So easy. And it's delicious. It really is spectacularly good. And as it cooks in the oven, this will meld into the smaller containers. Give it a good pat, smoosh it right down there. Because the lid's got to go on it, and it's got to go in my freezer to freeze it super solid to transport it to downstate, down to Kenosha. And there you go, there you have it. I'm going to finish up the rest of this one to get this one done and get the other two done, and then show you after I finish them all. So this is it. This is the carnivore-ish lasagnas that are going to go into my deep freezer tonight. Super chilly, super frozen, able to be transported and reheated when we get to Kenosha on Christmas Eve. I sprinkled the top of it with Italian seasoning and, of course, one more good sprinkle of the pluck zesty garlic. So super excited for everybody to enjoy this. Merry Christmas. Now to do the meatball video.